How would Liverpool cope with their injury crisis, and can they actually survive against a very in-form Leicester City side? It's your boy back, the HOD from the PSB. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, of course. Comment as well your opinion in this matter, predict what's going to happen in that match. Feel free to comment below whatever you want. All the feedback is appreciated, as long as it is constructive, as I always say. So let's get into the meat of the subject. The international break is finally over. Check the first episode if you want to hear me randomly rant about it. Hopefully I won't forget to mention it in the YouTube version. And I think we can return now to proper club football and get on with the rest of the seasons and get on with our lives, thankfully. But as far as Liverpool are concerned, I don't think that we'll be that happy really with all the injuries that they had. We're only a quarter of the season so far, and they had already Alisson, Thiago, Mane, Naby Keita, Fabinho, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Matip, the new recruits, Simicas, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and recently, of course, Jordan Henderson going down for some reason, whether it be an injury or elsewhere. I mean, it is just frustrating for the fans, particularly in the defensive department. Well, for all the solid options in the midfield that they have and the attacking flair that they have to replace the first teamers, they don't have quite the same quality in the back. I mean, it's not about the personnel really, it's about the quality of the defenders stepping in the shoes of the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and even Joe Gomez, for all the slack and all the criticism that he gets sometimes, is just a big ask for any player, particularly when you know that these players have played so long with each other and they gel so well together. Liverpool this season have been cursed by injury, it seems. They didn't have a stable pairing of centre-backs for quite a while now. We used Fabinho, Gomez, Van Dijk, Matip, Reece Williams in the Champions League and also in the league. Nathaniel Phillips were all used and rotating that centre of defence. And it is showing, to be fair. If it doesn't show, probably ask yourself how it's showing really. The Champions League, they played 3 matches, didn't concede any goals. Well, you have to look at the Premier League table, where they are the second worst defence in the league, conceding 16 goals in a table where there is Fulham, West Bromwich and Sheffield United. 3 teams that basically are the punching bags of each other, the punching bag the rest of the table that is, and could only win points over each other. I mean, yes, that tally is quite bumped by the fact that Liverpool lost to Aston Villa 7-2, but consider otherwise that Liverpool kept only 1 clean sheet this season, and it was against Chelsea back in the second week of the league, which seems like a very, very distant memory. The fact is, Liverpool's title defending chances have gone drastically down, even before this injury rate. I mean, you can think all the way back to the end of last season, where their performances really start to dip after guaranteeing that they won the title. But I think with the absentees now in this squad, some of them are going to be quite out for a while. It's going to be really, really hard for Jurgen Klopp to try and think of a plan to get over this crisis, because Liverpool's objective is, at the moment, to get as close of a position to the top and keep as close of a position to the top as they can, considering the injuries that they have at the moment. Because if they start dipping form, and with form I mean results, not performance levels, because that's another story for another day maybe. If they dip in the performance levels and they have some bad results, and by all such of the imagination, drawing against Manchester City in the last game, I think in my opinion is one of those bad results, because in the way it came about and the way they were leading and they were on the up, and Manchester City equalised somehow through a defensive mistake nonetheless. Again, this is a crisis that Jurgen Klopp needs to manage well. This is trying to maintain pressure while you are on the top of the mountain, which is something that not all the teams are able to do, not all the teams are experienced at doing. On the other hand, you have a Leicester City side who are really enjoying themselves at the moment. We cannot say otherwise. Brendan Rodgers and his guys are really enjoying themselves at the moment, having all sorts of great performances, enjoying a great match, and they will be salivating over the prospect of an inexperienced or incoherent, let's say, Liverpool backline. They can hate that with smart movement between the lines and the pace that they have, the likes of Jose Paris, Harvey Barnes, of course, Jimmy Vardy, depending on his fitness. They could really manage a good result. And after a couple of blips against West Ham and Aston Villa, honestly results that nobody expected from them, I think they have been enjoying a really good spell. 3 wins on the bounce, including 2 clean sheets, winning against Arsenal away from home, winning against Leeds and winning against Wolves, which are not easy wins to get by any stretch of the imagination, by the way. Winning against the likes of Wolves and Leeds, I mean Arsenal, okay. Arsenal became quite a dilemma, but winning against Leeds and Wolves, and I mean, I'll probably correct myself here as well. Maybe against Leeds too, because they like to play that offensive, open style. They don't really care too much about defending, so it's expected. But a win against Wolves in any circumstances throughout the last 2 seasons is really an important win. They now become consistently part of the European furniture wars, at least in the Europa League, that is. So the Brendan Rodgers boys are really starting to replicate some of that last season form. Most of it, to be honest, they really dipped towards the end. They had some bad results during the Christmas period against Liverpool and Leicester City back-to-back that really didn't help their chances of finishing the top 4. But they are showing forward this season, they are showing the credentials to continue that form, and maybe can mount a bigger challenge to the top dogs in Liverpool and Manchester City. This fixture's really always delivered. Always delivered in terms of excitement, always delivered in terms of goals, great football all around, but this is more interesting this time. And it is more interesting for Liverpool than Leicester City, because everybody is going to try and watch how Liverpool would react with having all of the defenders gone and trying to build a 4-man backline from the scratch, with even some of the options that you should use from the midfield to drop into that centre-back position injured in the likes of Fabinho and Henderson. Liverpool seems so vulnerable at the moment, and maybe Leicester City would think they are theirs for the taking. And I would agree, really. I would think, yes, Liverpool are there for the taking. But it depends how Brendan Rodgers can approach, and if he can take advantage of that to the full effect, because you forget that Liverpool have a strong front line, a strong attack inside that can hit you anywhere. The fact is, yes, they're going to miss Salah. Probably Firmino for isolation, we don't know, but the options that they still have, the likes of Shaqiri, Minamino, Diogo Jota, of course, and the ever-present Sadio Mane, are just going to increase their danger as much as it increases the danger of Leicester City going forward because of that incoherent defence. It just seems like a perfect opportunity from a Leicester City point of view to break a curse, really. I mean, they've been winless at Anfield against Liverpool since May the 3rd, 2000. The last time they won there, 2-0 result. And again, as I mentioned, for Jurgen Klopp is just the biggest test so far this season. Basically no starters in the defence. Maybe he's going to miss Alisson, and my goodness, does that bring some heebie-jeebies to the Liverpool fans when they think, oh, Alisson could be out, who's going to be in? Adrian. Wow. I think probably he should use Keller, I don't know, the third keeper, but I think the heebie-jeebies are there. The worry is going to be there, the scare is going to be there, because Adrian equals bad flashbacks to the game against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last season, to the game against Aston Villa early this season when they were dropped by 7. So Jurgen Klopp needs to know how to deal with pressure while now being the target, being the team to beat, being the team that everybody's chasing because they want to close down the gap with it. I see Liverpool struggling in this one, really, or maybe, just maybe, I think their unbeaten streak at Anfield might come to an end at the hands of that rampant, vibrant Leicester City side. Elsewhere in the Premier League, Newcastle kicked the 9th round off against the very improved Chelsea side, who seem more confident and coherent now with Frank Lampard after the first couple of weeks that didn't fill their fans with the biggest of hopes really for a great finish, but I think after the signing of Edward Mendy from Rennes with a bargain, be it in particular, started to keep more clean sheets, become more solid in the back with the presence of Thiago Silva providing an experienced head alongside Zuma, which pretty much became the centre back pairing surely, by default in Chelsea. While going in front, really, the pieces came together really well. The introduction of Hakim Ziyech just completed that pretty vibrant forward line. Instant impact on the team in the game against Sheffield United last time out, 2 assists for that guy. He really seems to know how to control the pitch, give the right pass, provide the right touch at the right moment. Not saying what lacked Kai Havertz so far, but maybe Kai Havertz should become more of a Thomas Muller kind of figure in Chelsea, where he just provides the right movement and just gives the simplest of touches at the most, at the easiest and the most important of places inside the box. While on the other hand, Steve Bruce and his side are just so predictable. I can't really watch a Newcastle game and think otherwise. The defensive play is so predictable that it's hard to be excited when you watch them. 10 goals, and these 10 goals came about from 13 shots on target, I think. If I'm correct, I don't know if I'm correct or not, didn't really check, but I think it's something along that ilk. It's not that much shots on target, and they scored goals from them, which for once is effective, and again, but still, it's too defensive, too conservative. My prediction for this game, I think it's an easy Chelsea win, comfortable scoreline. Yes, they're going to miss probably for the second Havertz, but they still have tremendous quality forward, which aids me towards maybe a 3-0 victory for them. On Saturday as well, Aston Villa, yet another side who made an impressive start for the season, host Brighton Hove Albion, who seem to be not rewarded, that's the word, not rewarded for some performances that they put this season so far. They find themselves 16 in the table, with 6 points, only win this season came against Newcastle, all the way back to late September in the second round as well. However, I don't think it will be, the winless streak, will be broken against Aston Villa, who had their dips in form lately, but also had some couple of bad results, but bounced back perfectly, I think, against Arsenal, winning 3-0 at the Emirates last time out. Super Jack Grealish, their captain, impressive for Aston Villa so far, impressive for England as well during the international break. Thank God that was over, which fills the Villa fans, I think, with big hope for the future, that they can turn around the misfortunes of last season, they can finish in a better place. Not saying top 4 finish, really. I mean, you know that the season is still longer, you know that Aston Villa are eventually going to have some purple patches, but still, they need and they want to finish in a better position than last season. The big game on Saturday, of course, is Tottenham hosting Manchester City. The Spurs side managed to raise the loss against Everton at the start of the campaign. I think they really washed away really well. They built themselves quite a good reputation in the league so far as a very vile, very effective and quick side, mostly thanks to the Kane-Son connection. Really, it's just working wonders for them at the moment. They scored a combined 15 out of 19 goals that Tottenham scored this season, 8 for Son, 7 for Kane, plus 10 assists in between them, 2 for Son and 8 for Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the king of the assists, by the way, just as Heung-Son Min is the king of goals. On the other hand, Guardiola's City have been anything but. By the way, as of recording this, I knew that he renewed his contract with Manchester City to 2023. Looking forward to seeing more Champions League quarterfinals being lost and more water to be drunk while losing 3-1 to an unknown team. His side struggled really to get the 3 points in most of their games, and I mean struggled tactically and struggled with being effective, including of course the 5-2 humbling by Leicester City that really exposed a lot of defensive weaknesses that they still have. The attacking tally of 10 goals this season that is just against the standards of a club like Manchester City, who score 70s and 80s and 90s of goals and score 7 and 8 for any team that's walking. This fixture in general is a hard one to deal for Guardiola. He doesn't know how to manage matches against Tottenham recently. He wins. I mean, his record is not that bad. But his strides against Tottenham, especially in the last couple of seasons, have been far, far from the most comfortable affairs that they could have, even at the best. Even the 2017-18 Manchester City, which I think was the best version probably, the one that was eliminated, of course, by Liverpool in the Champions League. I thought that maybe that one should have gone to win the Champions League. But again, this match is intriguing for so many reasons. It's intriguing to see how much the City are going to deal with the Tottenham attack, because this is the games that probably Mourinho would love. It's a game against a side that they will attack them and that will, try and get through their defence while they play on the counter, knowing full well that they have speed up front. And boy, do they have that pace and so on. Kane, of course, yes, they're going to be missing Bergwijn, but still, if the main pairing is there, if the main duo is there, and Son and Kane, it's not going to be a problem with the other players anyway. The final game on Saturday is Man United versus West Bromwich, which on the surface may look like an easy 3-point, but if you follow Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know how inconsistent and disappointing Manchester United can be, particularly at Old Trafford. Their record at home just sucks. They managed to put him some terrible displays, and despite saving himself from the sack against Everton, it won't surprise me in any way to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer grumbling against, quote-unquote, for the listeners here, another small side that can close down well, that can give them possession, which usually they don't know how to deal with. But I'm standing with the United win just because they need to build momentum, although that prediction could bite me in the backside. Those guys have the Champions League game against Istanbul Başakşehir on Tuesday, and if they don't win here, it might just be a blow to their morale before that game. I mean, even that game doesn't seem hard, but still, what happened in Turkey also doesn't fill the fans with the right hope. I mean, they're teetering now on a very sharp and thin line between being good and being bad, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trying to hit that balance, is trying to reach that point where he can say, my team is good, but it looks like he can't. Sunday fixtures in the Premier League, wounded Everton, really wounded at the moment, 3 on the bounce for Everton losses, makes the trip to a Fulham side that doesn't seem to know how to get points against sides above them written on the table. They only 4 points this season came about against a draw against Sheffield and a win against West Bromwich, which are both below them in the table as well, alongside Burnley in the relegation zone. They almost guaranteed a draw for themselves in the 97th minute against West Ham, but of course, goodness me, was that a bad panic? Anyway, Ramos would like to have a talk with you about how to do a bad Panenka. Sheffield United host West Ham in a similar case to Fulham. I think the Blades look to regain some sharpness and get the season back on track before it's too late, really. Chris Wilder's outfit doesn't look really coherent at the moment. They're not performing with the same intensity of last season, let's put it this way. Leeds United host Arsenal in a battle of two inconsistent sides that are expected to do big things this season, but didn't show for it. We all know where Arsenal is coming from, really, and for Arsenal, I want to see Aubameyang perform better, because since he sort of renewed his contract and extended his contract, I don't think he played well. And yes, he scored against United, but still, he doesn't seem to be consistent, and doesn't seem to put on consistent performances in the Premier League so far with Arsenal. As we mentioned, Liverpool face Leicester to finish the Super Sunday, while the round altogether finishes on Monday, with Burnley hosting Crystal Palace and Southampton travelling to face Wolves. Moving on across the top leagues in Europe, and we're going to start our trip from Spain. The 10th round of La Liga starts on Friday. Osasuna facing Huesca in a match that I don't think anybody should care about, unless you are a betting man and you care about who wins in that match to win money. On Saturday, Levante kicks things off early in the afternoon, lunchtime, against 11th placed Elche. Villarreal host Real Madrid late in that afternoon in the top table battle between the 2nd and the 4th on the table that will have loads of eyes on it pretty much, particularly to see how Real Madrid will cope after the crazy loss against Valencia 4-1 last time out, coupled with the additional injuries for both Rafael Varane and Sergio Ramos expected to miss out. That clash added to Hazard, Casemiro, Odriozola, Nacho. Lucas Vazquez is going to play at right back once more. My heart is with you, Real Madrid fans. One of the sides that found form in Sevilla, really, after being Europa League winners, going toe-to-toe with Bayern in the Super Cup. They are really in a bad patch at the moment. They face a languishing side in Celta Vigo in the bottom of the table, hoping to rack up some wins and get themselves back on track as well after some serious setback as of late in the league. And in Saturday's late kickoff main event, the big game in La Liga this week, it is Atletico Madrid, La Liga's strongest defence and, in my opinion, probably the best performing side alongside Real Sociedad against Ronald Koeman's Barcelona, who just started to show some form and coherence, though what is happening off the pitch might just throw some weight on how they perform at the Wanda Metropolitano. The leader, Lionel Messi in particular, falling under some serious fire because of rambling statements with the agent of Antoine Griezmann saying that things are not well. Antoine Griezmann himself, hinting at some sort of tension, some sort of bad times. I don't know. That just amplifies the already rampant and existing tension between him and the club. The guy probably is leaving next summer. He doesn't really need much more headache at the moment, because these kind of things come up precisely the wrong moment for the club. Eibar hosts Getafe on Sunday. Cadiz, the surprise package of the season, as they are 6 at the table at the moment, host top of the table Real Sociedad in a game that should be really interesting to test the mettle of Cadiz, but also to test the mettle of Real Sociedad. Can they be consistent against all sides? So far they have been, and we'll see what they do going forward. Granada play Valladolid, and Alaves host the big-time winners from last week, of course Valencia, to wrap up Sunday's fixtures, while Athletic Bilbao host Real Betis to finish the round on Monday. In Italy, 3 games on Saturday, all of them pretty much meaningless for the lesser sides, that is. Bottom of the table, Crotone host Lazio, who want to also make some form up, really rack up some wins as well, after deservedly, I would say, grabbing a 94th minute draw, an equaliser against Juventus. 13th place Spezia host an inconsistent Atalanta, who also need to take out some of the frustration that they have so far after being dropped by Liverpool 5-0 at home. A draw against Inter at home as well. They want to pick up some momentum, they want to return to their winning ways and to their incredible ways this season. Juventus on Saturday as well finish the day with a seemingly easy task on hand when they host Cagliari, but Pirlo's side so far, they have been unbalanced to say the least. On Sunday, Fiorentina hosts Benevento Internazionale for a very, very big fixture against Real Madrid in the Champions League. With Lukaku returning to their squad, of course, big good news for them. They have a tricky match while they host Torino, who are nearing relegation places with only 5 points so far at 16th and need some serious shot on the arm. Sampdoria face Bologna at home. 8th placed Verona and strongest defence in the Liga, might add, only conceding 5 goals, with Juventus second with 6. So hosting second placed Sassuolo in a battle of surprise packages. I always thought that Sassuolo was going to be a surprise package for the season, and it didn't disappoint me really. Udinese hosts Genoa in a direct relegation clash between 19th and 18th placed side respectively, while definitely the big game in Italy this week should be Napoli hosting AC Milan. In between the two sides, considered the best, two sides considered the top 2 performing at the moment. Some even label them as title contenders this early in the season, which might be too far, but not too far, considering the performances that they put in. AC Milan is still undefeated heading into this fixture, despite nearly crumbling against Verona last time out, if it wasn't for Zlatan late equaliser, while Napoli bounced back from their first loss, on field at least, let's not talk about the Juventus thing, and grabbed a solid 1-0 victory against Bologna. Finally, to wrap this up, moving on to the Bundesliga, of course. By the way, I'm not talking about France because that league doesn't interest me really. I mean, I'm surely following the scores and all, but I can't really give it more of my time because it's not that important. 8th round of matches kicks off, 7 matches on Saturday. Newly promoted Arminia Bielefeld face Bayern Leverkusen. Borussia Mönchengladbach welcome the Bavarian outfit of Augsburg, and the undisputed kings of German football, of course, Bayern Munich, host Werder Bremen, who are doing much better at the moment than what they were doing last season. Middle of the table at 9th, sitting really comfortable. Hoffenheim, who broke Bayern's undefeated streak, host Stuttgart, who managed to turn their fortunes from last couple of seasons as well, and they're sitting comfortably at 8th in the table too. Schalke, a side who are not sitting comfortably, bottom of the table, and they will have probably the same fortune that they have since the last part of the season, who face Wolfsburg, who are 5th on the table. Host Wolfsburg, who are 6th on the table, a battle of sides with very opposite form. Eintracht Frankfurt host the still impressive RB Leipzig, who are still putting some amazing displays under the leadership of Julian Nagelsmann, with Hertha Berlin hosting the young and vibrant Westphalian outfit of Borussia Dortmund, who want to get yet past another Der Klassiker disappointment, losing 3-2 against Bayern in a game that they weren't really bad. They were really equal to Bayern, but they just missed their chances, and you don't miss your chances against Bayern Munich. On Sunday, Freiburg hosts Mainz, both sides try to move upwards in the table. And of course, FC Köln finishes the round hosting the Union Berlin, a side that can be considered the surprise package of the Bundesliga, sitting 5th in the table with 12 points, 1 defeat. That was in the first week against Augsburg, but now really looks like a very distant memory. They are in good form in Germany. And that's it for the preview of the week. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel to help us produce more episodes like that. Predominantly and primarily, hopefully, we'll have 3 episodes of this each week. So Monday, Thursday and Friday. Thursday depending on whether there is midweek football or not, namely Champions League. I don't really care about the Europa League, unfortunately. If there is Champions League football, of course, we're going on Thursday and guaranteed to do that for the next 3 weeks at least. If there is not Champions League football, no league football in the midweek, which will be the case in the future, we might do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Some top 10s, maybe top 5s, transfer targets, and that sort of varied content, to put it more clearly. Comment below your predictions for the weekend, how things pan out, what you like, what you don't like about this. Again, all feedback is appreciated as long as it is constructive. And until I see you on Monday for the review, until the next episode, stay safe everyone, enjoy the good weekend of football. That was your boy, the HOD from the PSP, and goodbye.